Welcome to International Full Swept Timeline Hangout 65. I said, and I keep saying, the next one will be live, but I've sort of been overtaken by events. This one is pre-recorded because well, it's quite personal for me. On March the 9th, I received an email from the son of my first site sponsor. I had two site sponsors. His dad had died on March the 8th, and he was nearly 5 years younger than me, which Paul Todd. I opened my main website we started working it in November 1999, but I opened it on April the 8th 2000, and I opened several other websites in short order. On December the 4th 2002, I opened Is Michael Stone Guilty? Michael Stone is Britain's longest serving miscarriage of justice prisoner, convicted of the Children murders on absolutely no evidence worthy of the name. Paul offered to sponsor a domain for me, and on May the 21st, I'm reading from my chronology here. On May the 21st 2003, it moved to its own domain, which was ismichaelstoneguilty.org. He sponsored the domain and web space. A few years later, I picked up another sponsor who's older than me, quite a bit older than me actually, and I started work on the Full Swept Timeline at the beginning of 2016. I opened it in June that year. In October 2019, thanks to a generous donation from my second sponsor, it moved to its own domain, fullsweptimeline.org. Paul continued to support me. Well, first I met him through his dad, who died in 2015 at a decent age. When I met him, he was quite wealthy, but over the years, he died not wealthy. Partly maybe to these ludicrous COVID lockdowns, but his health was very bad. I visited him in no view of four hospitals over the past few years, and he had a heart problem which affected other parts of his body, especially his legs, and basically he worked himself to death. So he was always very supportive of my work, and it's a tragic loss. So this episode, hangout, whatever you want to call it, is in Memorium. I'm going to be covering suicides and deaths related to false rape allegations. I've got quite a lot of news and related things to cover first. What have we got here? This is from India. This is the New Indian Express. Kerala High Court quashes rape conviction of man who married a woman after sex with another. I try to limit the Indian cases because rape in India is very different from rape anywhere else, because a lot of men have sex with women, talk them into bed, usually a promise of marriage, and then when the marriage doesn't materialise, the girls file false rape allegations against them, rape on the pretext of marriage, which there was actually something similar to that in the West. It was called seduction. It's difficult to believe now. But I like to, I want to be a bit more selective with, a lot more selective with Indian cases, because there's so many like this. Excuse the yawning, as usual. I'm making this very late. Excuse the creaking desk, as usual. Paul bought me he gave me a chair. Actually, it's a chair which belonged to the Pink Floyd. The desk I've had for a long time. So I don't like to. I want to any Indian cases I cover. I want to make sure they're sort of unambiguous false allegations of rape. I found a very interesting article. Is this it? There was an article in an online magazine, I suppose you'd call it. This is by an academic, Dr. Katrin Hohl, Hohl. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Hohl, I suppose, I presume. And it's the usual rubbish about rape being vastly underreported, and new scorecards show under 1% of reported rapes lead to conviction. Criminologist explains why England's justice system continues to fail. Well, who says these are failures? And it's the usual rubbish here. The information is now publicly available, searchable through new justice scorecards, which, I mean, this is, why are prosecution rates so low? Because these bitches keep lying. A police culture of misogyny is evident in recent cases of misconduct directed on the police. No. Statistics don't tell the whole story. Well, that is definitely. They don't break down the data by ethnicity, despite such information existing. Doing so will show whether the criminal justice system is providing equal service to black and minority ethnic victims. Read that another way. Let's just mention the grooming gangs. And there's a load of rubbish here by this woman. But surprisingly, I found an article on a BBC website which covers something called Project Bluestone, in which she was involved. It's in the West Country. Bluestone is rather unfortunate name for the project. About 20 years ago, a police officer named Carl Bluestone murdered his wife and their two kids at their home in Kent, and then he committed suicide. Two of his kids, they appear to have had 4, but he murdered his wife then and committed suicide. But the Project Bluestone it's quite quite a sensible approach to rape. Actually, it's focusing on, if you sort of read between the lines, you're looking for serial offenders who do exist, you know. But I was quite surprised by that, actually. This isn't a rape story or false rape story. This was in the Daily Mail 2018. I only found it recently. A distraught lover who left her boyfriend a suicide note saying, "I love you, sorry," before jumping to her death after he threatened to destroy her by sending a revenge porn video of the pair to her family. I mean, this was he was Alessio Bianchi. Probably no relation to Kenneth Bianchi, although I wouldn't be surprised if he is. and she was, I think, a devout Muslim. Damilia Josipalenia, if I pronounce that right. Absolutely madness, yeah. I've known 2 people personally who committed suicide. Jessie Gilbert, I won't say any more about her here, not tonight anyway. She was 19, and the son of an associate. I hadn't seen him since he was a boy, since he was about 10. He committed suicide at the age of 27, and if you're a music fan, you probably heard of the 27 Club. You may have heard of the 27 Club, but that was a terrible case. And I knew of somebody back in 1988. I published an anthology, and a guy named Dave Wood contributed a poem. And years later, I had a phone call from his daughter, who said he committed suicide. She found my reference to the anthology going through his personal papers. He was, I don't think he was 50. It's it's sad. People commit suicide over trivialities, and of course it's a one-way ticket, This is really weird. This is from the Isle of Wight. It's a bloke who was accused of multiple rapes. I won't name him. I'm not sure if I'm going to add this to the full threat timeline. But he was charged with 9 counts of rape against 6 different women. And when the case came to trial at Portsmouth Crown Court, the case was dropped. I contacted the police press office, and the guy who responded wasn't very helpful. I'm going to chase it up again. It was really, I don't know if these are rapes which are said to have taken place over an 8-year period, 2013 to 2021. So I don't know if there were actual rapes, or if some happened and some didn't. It's really weird. And in Britain, we don't have. In the United States, the police release, the authorities release bundles of information about cases, criminal cases, and crime scene photographs and everything, which they don't do in here. Which I think they should a lot more. Talking of the Isle of Wight, this is absolutely, utterly depraved. This one. This is very recent. This is January this year. The family has spoken about the impact of one of the most horrific crimes the Isle of Wight has seen in recent years. This is a bloke named Graham Medway, who snatched a 3-year-old girl who run away from parents. How a 3-year-old girl runs away from parents, I don't know. Well, it happened, and he orally raped her. Now, there are sickos who murder young kids. We appreciate that, but to orally, it's utterly sick. He got 14 years, only 14 years. It just beggars belief. And Ghislaine Maxwell's going to get a lot more than that for what? For what? I don't know. This is a case which I'm sure I've covered this before. This is another police officer who threw away a fat pension for a leg over. Well, I presume he gets some sort of pension because he's 48, so he's done quite a few years. A constable at Greater Manchester Police. A relationship with a rape victim. Rape victim indeed. Yes, yeah, I've definitely done this before. This was a he was only served for 5 years when he struck up an inappropriate relationship with a woman while investigating the case in May 2012. Yeah, oh that's right, yeah. She claimed to have been kidnapped at knife point by 2 men in a van, and the case was dropped. And they talked about sexual fantasies. She appears to have been a bit dodgy. On October 3rd, 2019, he went with 2 colleagues to execute the warrant, and admitted he was on friendly terms with the woman. So she was. They were searching her home for something, and she admitted their relationship, and the guy did. I mean, I don't know. He did use the police computer. He did something he shouldn't do, but this is a bloke who was white knighting, and they just stay away from these women. They're toxic, right? They're absolutely toxic. Even those who genuinely be raped, because you know how can I put it? A lot of these women put themselves in situations where they get raped. This is the victim blaming. This is good girls go to heaven, bad girls go everywhere, and stay away from bad girls. I feel a bit sorry for this guy, but I don't usually feel sorry for police officers, but they're just Newcastle Herald, Australia. Tristan Saylor found not guilty of rape. He is an NRL soccer player, football player, whatever. And this is another case of alcohol. Saylor was accused of having sex with a woman who was either unconscious or too intoxicated to consent after a night out in Sydney with a friend in October 2020. Stay away from drunk women. Stay away from women who've been drinking alcohol, because you see on the timeline of the cases. Look up Operation Matisse. Amanda, what's her name? The one who had did an indecent acts on a train. Stay away from them, because they drink like fishes, and then they wake up the next morning and they claim they can't remember anything, or they have flashbacks which are inaccurate. There's plenty of stuff on the timeline. Start with Operation Matisse and follow the links. This is very interesting one. This is Tory MP Jamie Wallace comes out as trans. He was victim of rape and blackmail. This has got to be social contagion, this trans garbage. I don't. A Conservative MP as well. Shades of Harvey Proctor. I'm trans. Full stop. Or to be more accurate, I want to be. I've been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and I felt this way since I was a very young child. Oh dear, dear. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Noel Clarke, a celebrity who's been in the news a bit. Noel Clarke met police stop investigation after sexual harassment claims. So this guy's had his name dragged through the mud. Is sexual harassment a crime? Up to 20 women have levelled sexual harassment and bullying claims against the BAFTA winner, known for his role in Doctor Who. So he's had his name dragged through the mud. It's been, well, I don't know what sort of career he's going to have now, but we've updated the complainants. If any further allegations related to those already assessed or reported, then it will be thoroughly considered. I mean, this is absolutely outrageous. Reacting to the news, Anna Burley of pressure group Reclaimers Lee Street said, reporting experiences of sexual assault abuse is doing all. No, it isn't! It isn't! Scream, punch, kick. And if it's just harassment, well, slap the guy's face. I mean, these absolutely outrageously, these cases. Absolutely outrageous. So this guy is he'll probably be unpersoned now, whatever. It just shouldn't be allowed, this sort of thing. Right, we've got here from Hindustan Times. After 3 years jail, 2 brothers acquitted of rape charges. So I'm going to look up this in a bit more detail. They were arrested November 16, 2018, and were only released last month. Looks like a case of I hate to call it parental alienation, but they seem to be fitted up by the girl's mother, who will obviously suffer no consequences. I should mention the Marilyn Manson case. That's on the timeline, false allegation. There's a lot more to it, and this sounds a bit like the Cheshire case in Canada, or even the Savile case in the UK. Coming on to the subject of in Memorium, there was a so-called documentary on the other night about recently called National Treasure, National Disgrace. Covered Gary Glitter and Gary Glitter and Stuart Hall, both of whom were guilty, and also Rolf Harris and Jimmy Savile, the late Jimmy Savile. I published a review of it with a Duran. Very, well, typically dishonest, utterly dishonest, especially Myra and Jones, the BBC name. They left out Mark Williams Thomas, strangely enough. But the Marilyn Manson case, he has issued the writ for defamation against his principal accuser, and there's been a lot of videos on YouTube of women defending him. So I think this is it's going to be a real scandal. Right, coming to the subject at hand of suicide, of in Memorium, should I say. One of the saddest cases in recent years was Jay Cheshire. On April 29th, 2015, he was accused of rape. He was a teenager, 17, I think. 17, yeah. Born September 15, 1997, and he had a history of depression. The police, no further action in the case, but he hanged himself in the park, and the following year his mother hanged herself. Same way he did, and her daughter, Jay's sister, she's appeared on TV discussing the case. Sad, very sad. Same year, Hannah Stubbs committed suicide in August 29th. She accused Elgin Varney of rape. They were both studying at Keele University, and I think this is another case of, well, she probably sounded like she wasn't quite right in the head. A lot of young women like this nowadays, but I think she may have been brainwashed by feminists. I mean, it really is this pernicious ideology. It's so toxic, and the women who push it are so toxic. And you see what's happening now in the United States with this gender crap going on in the schools, and it's a lot of women pushing that, women teachers. It just really is absolutely insane. Another suicide here was 2014. This was a young woman who said she was struck, choked and raped on Greenwood Trail near Kid Brewer Stadium, in the United States, Appalachian State University. What happened was on September 2nd, a student named Anna Smith disappeared. She committed suicide. I think she's some sort of hoax. Some woman trying to capitalise on their suicide. The same year, May 23rd, 2014, rugby player Luke King committed suicide. This was, I think, in the north of England. He'd been accused of rape in 2010. Yeah, well, they generally play rugby in the north of England, don't they? Whitehaven. Alpha male, who was maybe not quite so. Who cares? Who cares about men? Yes, February 18th, 2014. This is a woman committed suicide, Clare Cruttenden. She committed suicide in a Brighton hotel room. She'd made lots of reports of rape and others. She was clearly not right in the head. The police officer was dismissed. He was later reinstated. I don't see you can always blame the police for these mad women, things they do. Stephen Rotherham. This is January 2013. He was blamed. He was the victim of rumours about being a paedophile, not an allegation of rape, but he ended up ending it all. Committed suicide in a cemetery. One from India, Rupikshaw Agrawal. He was a landlord who was accused of raping tenants, spent 72 days in jail, but eventually she did a decent thing. She ended up with a 4-year sentence. He committed suicide. May 25th, 2010, Nigerian medical student Olamide Fadiomi was cleared of rape. He was tried at Sheffield Crown Court. He wasn't the first man his accuser had claimed raped her. Somebody committed suicide before that. So it's a second false rape allegation. The female one, Sasha Menukori. This is the University of Missouri student. February 2010, she claimed to have been gang raped. She didn't report this, but did write about it in her diary, which came to light only after her suicide. I don't know. These women, are universities really more dangerous than the back streets of Delhi for women? Yeah, that's what we're being led to believe. This ludicrous stuff here. John Keogh, Keogh, was questioned about sexual assault by Wiltshire police. He was a patient who was schizophrenic, so he was accused of sexually assaulting another head case. July 7th, 2009, he committed suicide. There's another one from India. Manoj Nainar of Mumbai. A woman was threatened to lodge a false rape claim against him in a financial dispute. That may have tipped him over the edge. Another one here, New Delhi. Nirja Sharma was arrested. She's a alleged member of a gang that attempted to extort money from people. Let's say that there's some really strange goings on in India with false rape allegations. It's led to the antics, or said to have led to the suicide of a retired colonel in 2005. James Bamber, at the age of 82, he committed suicide in May 2008 after being accused of raping a woman in refused to lend money. 82? Seriously? Daniel Devaney committed suicide some 15 months after being accused of rape. This was January 2008. Oh, he was the bloke who was falsely accused by the false accuser of Olamide Fadiomi. So all very sad. Yeah, I'm still. I mean, Paul's been dead a month now, but you know, we're only on this earth for a short time. I've been here longer than I thought I'd be, but I'm going to keep. I've added a bit to the timeline recently. I want to add a lot more over the next couple of months. I also run out of cases, but there are a lot of cases of a lot of false allegations that don't get reported. It's where you hear these, where you get these ludicrous statistics from. Like let's say that you know, only 3% or 1% come to court. This is because the police, they investigate these cases and they're total rubbish. You know, you have these women that they get drunk and they do stupid things. They get angry with men and they make false allegations. Or a lot of these women are just seriously not right in the head. Seriously not right in the head. There's a lot of men like that as well, but male psychopaths. A male psychopath will maybe assault you or something like that, but female psychopaths are a lot more cunning than male psychopaths because they can destroy men at no risk or virtually no risk themselves. I mean, a lot of I've discussed this before. A lot of you know, if you have a man who's going around attacking people willy-nilly, at some point he's going to end up in court and maybe serving a long prison sentence. But female psychopaths, Jordan Peterson's commented on this, that they use rumour and innuendo and stuff. I mean, I've experienced this, not in the sexual realm. I don't think so anyway, not yet. But they just make up stuff about you. I think a lot of these false rape allegations, like Angry Harry, who died in, I think, 2016, he said that there's so many women out there who are not right in the head or on medication, and there's so many incentives to make false rape allegations, false this, that and the other. What's to stop them? Just one more case I will mention. This isn't a false rape allegation, but it may become one given time. This was reported by the Daily Mail. I don't generally read the Daily Mail, but it was sent to me by my Australian correspondent, so you know who you are. Kudos. Basically, she was a trainee surgeon, the age of 37, named Zoe Sun. She made false allegations. She was doing research work, and she made false allegations against two of her colleagues. And she went to, including sexual harassment, she went to extraordinary lengths. I'm going to add this timeline. This is a 39-page judgment by the Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service. She qualified in 2009 with a MBBS ONS, not sure what that is, from Hull York Medical School. She was a member of the Royal College of Surgeons, trainee vascular surgeon, and she was doing research. but she, this is all totally mad. She was, she claimed, well, she told a number of lies about totally ludicrous stuff, and then she accused two colleagues of sexual harassment. During July and August 2019, Dr. Sun made various reports of harassment against Dr. L, three of her colleagues, Dr. L, Dr. K and Dr. M, to both West Yorkshire Police and Cambridgeshire Police. The outcome was that, to paragraph 54, paragraph 54 on page 33 is a bit paragraph 54 on page 33. The tribunal determined that Dr. Sun's misconduct is fundamentally incompatible with continued registration. Whilst recognising the impact of XXX, the tribunal nevertheless concluded that the nature, breadth and seriousness of the dishonesty was such that only erasure could be the appropriate and proportionate sanction to uphold limbs B and C of the overarching objective. Strange phrasing that. Paragraph 55. The tribunal therefore directs the erasure of Dr. Sun's name from the medical register. You probably guessed Dr. Sun was Chinese or Oriental, and I said this before that these women, a lot of blokes bring these women to the West. I don't know if she's been living here or grew up here or whatever, but these Oriental women have sort of mystique and charm about them, and then they start behaving like white women and leave a trail of it's batshit crazy, a lot of them. Anyway, that's the latest hangout. The next one, I will try to do it live. I've got other things, I've got a lot on my plate at the moment. And again, I'm not in the best of health, but I'm still alive, unlike some. So I'll upload this to my YouTube account within the next day or two, and next month add it to the Internet Archive.